I was cornered by a fierce tiger, but I wasn't scared at all. Instead, I gave it a punch. Little did I know, that one move scared the people in the control room half to death. You see, this tiger is actually the Grand Marshal of the Interstellar Empire. I had no clue. Not only did I use the tiger's belly as a pillow, but I also used a lion's tail as a whip and even rode a blue falcon like a horse. Who would have thought that one day I'd wake up only to find a bunch of handsome, commanding men holding me in their arms? I've always been obsessed with fluffy animals. So, after Planet Blue joined the Interstellar Federation, I immediately took a job at the Interstellar Wildlife Sanctuary as a keeper. But on my very first day, I punched the Imperial Marshal. The control room staff were absolutely terrified. Turns out, this place is actually a sanctuary for interstellar beastmen. And that tiger? That's the Imperial Marshal in his beast form. Everyone kept here as a triple S-class interstellar big shot. Once these elites reach adulthood, they enter an evolution phase. They develop a beast-like spiritual form. But during this process, they lose their human consciousness and turn into total wild animals. Beastmen in this state won't let anyone feed them or even get close. Yet, I didn't just make the Platinum King tiger calm down. I actually leaned against his belly to sunbathe. The people in the control room couldn't believe their eyes. You have to understand, no one has ever been able to get near the Tiger King, Austin. Since I hadn't gone through training yet, I had no idea Austin was the Imperial Marshal. To me, he was just a big tiger. At that moment, the sanctuary director, Huo Mingjin, fell into a deep silence. He was wondering being able to get close to the beast form Austin. Was it just a fluke? Or could any human from Planet Blue do the same? The vet, Xu Shihan, knew exactly what Huo Mingjin was thinking. Unfortunately, he was about to be disappointed. They'd hired humans before, but without exception, none of them could get near a beast form beastman. I was the only exception. 1 hour later, I woke up in the warm sunlight. I brought plenty of raw meat and fruit when I entered the sanctuary. So, I decided to go grab some food to feed him. Seeing me leave, the Platinum King tiger followed me without hesitation. Knowing he was injured, I walked very slowly. The two of us strolled toward the aircraft. Once again, the staff in the control room were jaw-dropped. If I may be so bold, it looks like she's just walking her dog. I took out 2 pieces of raw meat and placed them in front of Austin. Wait, what is she doing? Does she think just because she can get close, the Marshal will actually eat the meat she offers? That's just ridiculous. But the next second, the entire control room went dead silent. Because the Marshal actually ate the meat I gave him. This was the first successful feeding in history. Even director Huo Mingjin was shocked. Though he tried to keep his cool. But soon, even he couldn't hold it together. Didn't you give her any nutritional supplements? He asked. After I fed Austin, I pulled a lunchbox out of the trunk and used 2 heating packs to warm up my own meal. The person who hired me answered his question. It seems humans from Planet Blue still prefer fresh food. So they don't really like supplements. Just then, the tiger started sniffing the delicious aroma coming from my lunchbox. I gently pushed his big head away. Hey, this has all kinds of seasonings in it. It's not good for you. He let out a soft whine. You want some? Nope, you can't have any. Be a good boy, okay? To everyone's surprise, the Platinum King tiger started rolling around on the ground like a pampered kitten. I burst out laughing and gave the big tiger a huge kiss. How can you be so cute? I love you so much. Austin was stunned by the kiss. He just sat there awkwardly, licking his paws. Everyone in the control room just had their minds blown again. She actually kissed Austin. The craziest part is that the Marshal didn't swat her to death on the spot. Anyway, after dinner, I got ready to head back to the service area. Just as I climbed into the aircraft, I felt a heavy weight behind me. I turned around and came face to face with that massive, furry cat head. Hey, little cutie, are you planning to come back with me? The big tiger let out 2 low purrs and sat there like a mountain, refusing to budge. So, I switched the aircraft to hover mode and flew toward the nearest service area. By the time we arrived, the veterinarian, Xu Shihan, had already been waiting for a long time. Even though I had treated Austin's wounds, the team didn't really know what I was capable of. Just to be safe, it was better to let a professional vet give him a proper checkup. But the second Austin laid eyes on the vet, he suddenly became extremely aggressive. Seeing him like that, I quickly pulled him into a hug. There, it's okay. He's not a bad guy. Be a good boy, don't be angry, okay? I've always had a huge soft spot for animals. My voice was incredibly gentle. Austin, who had been roaring at Xu Shihan just a moment ago, actually started to calm down. The sight left Xu Shihan absolutely speechless with wonder. Could you please lead him into the treatment room? I need him to stand on the scanner. The scanner could check all of Austin's injuries with 1 click, but only if he was willing to cooperate. I tried to guide him inside. Austin flicked his massive tail, patrolling the room like he owned the place. Once he felt safe, he gave Xu Shihan a cold, sideways glance before walking over to me. And before I could even say a word, he actually jumped onto the scanner all by himself. Huo Mingjin and the others watching from the control room had lost count of how many times they'd been shocked today. This was completely against the nature of a wild beast. When the scan results finally appeared, I couldn't help but frown. Aside from the few new wounds from today, Austin was covered in far more old scars. Xu Shihan explained that these were all left over from his previous battles, and because he never cooperated with treatment. It just became a vicious cycle until his body ended up like this. I decided I would stay by his side for a while and help with the treatment plan Xu Shihan laid out. Just then, Austin saw Xu Shihan talking to me, and he started getting restless and agitated again. He nudged his enormous head against me, acting like a giant, clingy baby. At the same time, he glared at Xu Shihan with a dangerous look in his eyes. Sensing the threat, Xu Shihan immediately bolted out the door as fast as his legs could carry him. It's getting late. I'll go prep tomorrow's medicine first. You should get some rest. I watched his retreating figure in total confusion. Why did Dr. Xu run away so fast? Before going to bed, I used some water to wipe the dirt off Austin's fur. Then, I started brushing him, only to realize he had a massive amount of loose fur. Huge clumps were coming off with every stroke. I couldn't help but complain. Didn't your previous keepers ever brush you? If those keepers had been there to hear me, their faces would have definitely started twitching. Was it that they didn't want to brush the marshal? It was the marshal who would never let them get anywhere near him. Austin purred contentedly, rolling over to show his belly. That big, fluffy tail was swaying back and forth. He was so cute that I couldn't resist kissing his head several more times. By the time I finished grooming all his fur, I was exhausted. One human and one tiger ended up falling fast asleep right there in the treatment room. We just drifted off like that. Back in the control room, the staff looked at me using the tiger's belly as a pillow, and they all stared at each other in disbelief. However, Huo Mingjin's brow furrowed. This tiny, fragile human from Blue Star was sleeping and she didn't even have a blanket. I have to send her more supplies tomorrow. And from now on, as long as Austin is in his purification period, Ling Miaomiao is our top priority for protection. With her around, the chances of Austin getting through his purification period safely are much, much higher. When I woke up, I was aching all over. To be honest, the floor is still a bit hard to sleep on. I stretched for a good while to ease the stiffness. Seeing me get up, the big tiger, who had been pretending to be asleep, immediately started walking towards the door. I had closed the door last night because I was afraid of catching a cold. The people in the central control room got pretty nervous when they saw that. After all, wild beasts refuse to be confined. Closing the door is a very dangerous thing to do, but not only did Austin not react. When I lay back down on his stomach, he even shifted into a more comfortable position. That left everyone completely speechless. I walked to the door, and as soon as I opened it, the tiger instantly bolted outside and disappeared without a trace. Xu Shihan handed me the medicine he had prepared last night. He stared in the direction Austin had disappeared, looking both hopeful and nervous. Someone will be here with supplies later. Do you think he'll come back? If Austin doesn't return, all of their excitement will have been for nothing. Just leave it with me for now. Although I had a friendly night with Austin, this is still my first time interacting with an interstellar animal. I need to understand him better. If he doesn't come back, I'll just have to go find him myself and apply the medicine in the wild. Hearing her say that, Xu Shihan agreed it was a plan. At least it was better than them being unable to get close at all. I have other work to do, so I have to head back to the service area. Will you be okay by yourself? This whole area is Austin's territory. He doesn't like humans getting close, so there are no staff members in this service area. Although I confidently told him not to worry, both Xu Shihan and the colleagues in the central control room couldn't help but worry about me. This small and fragile human from Blue Star. After seeing Xu Shihan off, I sneaked a piece of the lamb leg that was prepared for Austin, planning to grill some lamb skewers. I just didn't know when the person with the supplies would arrive, or if they'd make it in time for me to season the skewers. There was no way I was going to eat nutrient packs. The true nature of a Blue Star foodie is carved into our very bones. Just as I was looking for a few small wooden sticks to make the skewers, a deep voice sounded by my ear. Hello, I'm Huo Mingjin. I'm here to deliver your supplies. Hearing him introduce himself, I quickly stood up from my chair. Hello, my name is Ling Miaomiao. Realizing that I probably didn't recognize him, Huo Mingjin didn't say anything more about himself and instead began unloading things from his aircraft. As the district chief, he had personally taken on the task of delivering supplies just for a chance to meet me. Seeing Huo Mingjin get to work, I wanted to go over and help. But he wouldn't let me lift a finger. In the end, I could only find the spices he brought over, planning to treat him with some grilled lamb for his hard work. When Huo Mingjin caught the powerful aroma, he was instantly stunned. What is this? I had cobbled together a makeshift grill from materials on hand. The tempting aroma of roasting meat was enough to make one's mouth water. I smiled and replied, "They're lamb skewers." Huo Mingjin couldn't stop himself from taking one and biting into it. With just one bite, he finally understood why Blue Star humans were so unwilling to drink nutrient packs. What kind of miserable life had he been living up until now? How does it taste? We aren't back on the blue planet, after all. Even the spices are limited. I waited, heart racing, for his feedback. It's delicious. Huo Mingjin looked at the pitifully small pile of lamb skewers. He glanced at the corner where the lamb for Austin was kept. Why don't you just grill all of those too? Austin doesn't like eating that stuff anyway. Better let me take care of it for you. The food you make is just too good. This little bit isn't even enough to get stuck in my teeth. Having successfully won over District Chief Huo's stomach, I happily dragged the rest of the lamb over. Just as I was about to go all out, Huo Mingjin reached out and stopped me, looking startled. He finished his skewer in one bite and stood up to help. People from the blue planet are so fragile and small. How could I let you do such heavy lifting? Naturally, he took over. The crew in the control room watched, completely dumbfounded. Just how good could those lamb skewers be? They were dying to have a taste themselves. Skewers alone won't be enough. Let's just roast a whole lamb leg and make some soup too. Now that I knew just how much Huo Mingjin could eat, I decided to just say what was on my mind. Since those skewers were barely an appetizer for him, he agreed to my suggestion immediately. 30 minutes later, I sliced off a piece of the roasted lamb leg and handed it to him. Huo Mingjin didn't even care that it was burning hot. He stuffed it right into his mouth. The tender, juicy meat practically exploded with flavor. His tongue danced with the taste of the charcoal fire, and that unique, smoky aroma. In that moment, Huo Mingjin finally knew what true satisfaction felt like. It's simply divine. Meanwhile, in the control room, the staff were practically drooling. They couldn't stop grumbling about how selfish it was for the chief to keep it all for himself. Huo Mingjin felt a sudden chill down his spine, but his attention was immediately stolen by the bowl of lamb soup one offered. A warm glow spread through his entire body, but just as he was reaching for a second bowl, a thunderous roar echoed through the entire service area. Austin had returned, only to find his home had been raided. Austin snarled at Huo Mingjin, looking like he was ready to rip his throat out at any second. Austin, did you go hunting? Wow, that's amazing. That sudden praise instantly broke the deadly tension between the man and the tiger. Austin looked at me, totally dazed, when he saw my eyes sparkling as I looked at the prey he'd caught. He immediately shoved the catch toward me. Huo Mingjin already knew Austin treated me differently, but he still couldn't help complaining to himself. Austin, you double-standard tiger. I looked down at the wild rabbits and pheasants in total surprise. Austin. Thank you so much. To everyone's shock, the mighty King Tiger didn't even bother with Huo Mingjin for stealing his food. He just lay down tamely by my side. So the marshal went hunting specifically for Ling Miaomiao? I was so scared Austin was going to swallow the district chief whole. He was clearly beyond furious a second ago. But one compliment from Ling Miaomiao and he just gave in. The people in the control room weren't just hungry. They were being stabbed in the heart by the general's blatant favoritism. They were crying and drooling at the same time. Well, once the marshal turns back into a human, he definitely won't be this irrational. He won't just surrender to her like that. Otherwise, the consequences would be unthinkable. After Huo Mingjin left, I took Austin for a walk nearby. Suddenly, a sharp cry pierced the sky. A sky blue hunting falcon dived down like a bolt of lightning, targeting the two beasts right in front of it. A beastman's combat instinct is hardwired into their soul. Even if they've lost their human consciousness, when faced with a threat, they will still step forward to kill without a moment's hesitation. Wait, why is there a monster here? I panted, having run all this way following Austin. I stared at the fight ahead with a deep frown. The eagle and the tiger were working together, lunging at the enemy. And my question was exactly what my colleagues back in the control room were wondering, too. It's Commander Karna. No wonder he sensed the monster's presence right away. The commander and the marshal are old partners, but right now, they don't remember each other at all. I don't know if they can handle this. A monster appeared just yesterday. And now there are two more. This is clearly a targeted attack. Huo Mingjin, who had still been savoring his delicious meal, darkened his expression and barked out an order. He told the guard unit to head out and provide backup immediately upon hearing that more monsters had appeared. Shu Shihan, the vet, rushed over too. He immediately spotted a tiny figure in the corner of the surveillance screen. Why is Ling Miaomiao still standing there? Doesn't she know she needs to run when there's danger? Hearing Shu Shihan's panicked voice, Huo Mingjin realized that I hadn't even left the combat zone. He grabbed the communicator to call me, but my focus was entirely on the king tiger. I didn't hear the order at all. When I saw a third monster appear out of nowhere, I whipped out my slingshot without a second thought. How dare you bully my big kitty? Take this. There was a soft thwack as the pellet hit its mark. The monster wobbled and swayed, then actually keeled right over. What is that thing Miaomiao's holding? It took down that hound in one shot. Everyone in the control room was seeing a slingshot for the first time. They never imagined such a tiny little thing could drop a monster. Truth be told, the secret was in the pellets. The moment one hit the monster, it released a massive dose of sedative. Even an elephant wouldn't have stood a chance. By the time the guards arrived, the tiger and the eagle had already finished off the monsters. When Austin saw me, he came trotting over, tail wagging with excitement. Then he started purring and acting all cute to get my attention. The blue wolf falcon, who was about to fly back up, was absolutely speechless at the Platinum King tiger's behavior. Does this guy have no shame at all? Acting like a baby to a weak human, seriously? Oh, little falcon, you're still here. My eyes lit up, and I rushed over to him. Seeing this, the guards shouted a warning. Wait, don't go near him. Watch out, our Commander Karna will peck you. But by then, my small hand had already reached out and stroked Karna's feathers. I looked back at them, totally innocent. Huh? Why would he peck me? Struck by the adorable head tilt of this earthling, the guards stood there, completely at a loss. No one had warned them that the new earthling caretaker would be this cute. Is even His Excellency Karna falling for her? Karna shivered slightly at the sudden touch. Realizing I was too short to reach his head, he actually lowered it for me. I'd never seen such a huge falcon before. I wondered what it would feel like to ride him into the sky. The guards had no idea I was actually fantasizing about riding their top battlefield commander. And after cleaning up the battlefield, they decided it was time to leave. Mostly because they were afraid that if they stayed, a jealous Austin would turn his anger on them. Just then, Austin bit down on my pant leg and started tugging me toward him. It was obvious he didn't want me spending too much time with the falcon. Seeing me being pulled away, Karna wasn't happy about it either. He grabbed the back of my collar with his beak. And just like that, the two fierce beasts started a tug of war over me. Karna, hey, take it easy. He bit my hair, hearing my cry of surprise. Karna realized a second too late and let go. Thank goodness, my hair was barely saved. Since I almost went bald just now, I backed away from the Azure Falcon a little. But then, he thought he'd committed some terrible crime and sulkily buried his head in his chest feathers. Seeing him like that, I couldn't help myself. I reached out and stroked his little head to comfort him. My two big heroes want to go back for dinner? Regardless of everything, they were good boys who took down two fierce beasts, so they naturally deserved a reward. The tiger and the falcon scrambled to answer first, then glared fiercely at each other. If I wasn't right there watching them, they probably would have started a brawl in the blink of an eye. Just then, Karna suddenly nudged his head toward me and bent his talons, lowering his massive body. I understood the Azure Falcon's intention instantly. You want me to sit on your back? Wait, Lord Karna isn't actually he's not really letting Ling Miaomiao ride on his back, is he? The district chief and all my colleagues watched with wide eyes as I treated their commander like a flying mount. As soon as I was settled on the Azure Falcon's back, his folded wings suddenly unfurled. In an instant, they slapped a mouthful of dust right into the tiger's face. Austin was just about to roar in, maybe bite off a few falcon feathers, when Karna gave a light kick and soared into the sky. Experiencing a flying mount for the first time, I was so excited I couldn't contain myself. Meanwhile, watching his tiny and adorable human vanish from his sight, Austin whined anxiously and started chasing after us. He ran in the direction Karna was flying. But honestly, flying really is a lot faster than running. In just the blink of an eye, Karna landed smoothly at the service area. I smiled with satisfaction and decided to treat him to some extra delicious food tonight as a reward. Austin, arriving a step late, immediately started scrapping with Karna the moment he got there. Luckily, they both knew when to stop and weren't actually trying to kill each other. I prepped the pork that the service area had specifically reserved for beasts and placed 2 large basins at the door. Then, I called the tiger and the falcon over for dinner. Hearing my call, Austin and Karna shot each other a look, gave a heavy huff, and then each walked toward their own bowl. When night fell, I looked at the big bed and let out a long, weary sigh. I really feel like this bed could be even bigger. I'm not just being picky, honestly. It's because with a tiger and a falcon lying on it, there was absolutely no room left. So, I dragged my pillow and bedding onto the floor. I just flopped down right there. Seeing that I wasn't sleeping on the bed, the white gold king tiger and the azure falcon both hopped off. No other reason, except they just wanted to snuggle and sleep together. The next day, I was woken up by the white gold king tiger licking me. Opening my eyes groggily, a massive tiger head filled my entire field of vision. Austin, stop it. If you keep licking me, my hairline is going to disappear. The big kitty blinked his tiger eyes piteously. Meanwhile, the azure falcon started flapping his wings and chirping, seemingly laughing at him. Annoyed to death, Austin turned and roared at Karna. I almost thought there was an earthquake. Alright, good boy, don't be angry, okay? Karna didn't mean any harm. I started settling the feud between the two big guys first thing in the morning. I sighed deeply. Karna, you be a good boy, too. Wouldn't it be nice to be good friends with Austin? You two looked so cool fighting together yesterday. Since I wanted them to get along, I figured a common enemy might be a good choice. Then, I pretended to be extremely hungry. I'm starving. How about we go hunting together? It scared Austin and Karna so much that they both rushed over to sniff me, making sure I was still in one piece. After that, I headed into the woods with a tiger and a falcon. The azure falcon was mainly responsible for spotting prey, while the Platinum King Tiger acted as the main muscle. As for me, naturally, I was just the slacker, using my camera to record their majestic moments. I'd already cleared it with Huo Mingjin about creating a StarNet account. So, he specifically had someone buy this for me. I kept showering them with praise. Even though Austin and Karna can't understand my words, as beasts, they're incredibly sensitive to emotions. They started working even harder. Just as I was wondering what else there was to eat back at the service area, Karna actually caught a few big fish from the river for me, solving my lunch problem in an instant. Seeing those big fish, I was absolutely thrilled. I kissed his little head several times, and it actually made the falcon get all shy. Seeing he'd been upstaged by the crafty Karna, Austin let out 2 dissatisfied roars. He turned his head, wanting to jump into the river to catch some more fish for me. Oh, wait, Austin, your wounds haven't healed yet. You can't get them wet. He looked so aggrieved. Okay. And you're all better, I'll only eat the prey you bring back for me. How does that sound? Deal? I finally managed to soothe the big kitty. I wiped the sweat from my brow, feeling totally wiped out. Coaxing beasts is both a skill and a physical workout. Meanwhile, I opened my optical computer and created a new account on StarNet. Fluffy Caretaker, no time like the present. Once the name was set, I uploaded the photos I took today to StarNet, recording the first hunting collaboration between the Platinum King Tiger and the Azure Falcon. After confirming the upload was successful, Austin and Karna were full too. I put the fish in the back of the flyer and headed back with the tiger and the falcon. Once they safely escorted me back to the service area, Austin and Karna shared a look. Then they turned and vanished back into the woods. Shu Shihan approached cautiously. Once I was sure the 2 big bosses were gone, I felt safe enough to sit down properly. Here's the medicine for Austin and Karna. There are also supplies for you on the flyer. I brought your luggage from the dorms, too. Dr. Shu, you're such a wonderful person. Since you're helping me move my stuff, lunch is on me. Dazzled by my sudden smile, Shu Shihan gave a helpless sigh and, with the same hands that hold a scalpel, began helping me move the supplies. I cleaned the big fish and found plenty of fish roe inside. It was enough for an extra dish. But then I suddenly remembered, I had no idea where Austin and Karna had run off to again. Their wounds aren't even healed yet. Well, speak of the devil. And there they were. Austin and Karna appeared out of nowhere. They immediately claimed the spots on my left and right, starting their jealousy contest all over again. Seeing the blood on their muzzles, they probably went hunting again. I reached out to feel their bellies. It seemed they hadn't eaten. They just went for the hunt. I wiped their mouths for them. Then I brought out the fruit and vegetable platter I'd already prepared, and so, by the time Dr. Shu returned with his haul, he was met with the sight of 2 apex predators. They were guarding me while I cooked. It was a picture of absolute peace. I remembered how Austin had ambushed him before. Dr. Shu, don't worry. They won't hurt you. I reached out and gently patted the heads of the Platinum Royal Tiger and the Azure Falcon. I softly whispered to them, telling them not to harm Dr. Shu. Phew, luckily, the 2 big guys were very cooperative. As he approached, they barely even lifted an eyelid. Here, have a bowl of fish soup. It'll help calm your nerves. I handed him a bowl of freshly made fish soup with tofu. The milky white soup and the fresh scent of tofu had him salivating instantly. He grabbed it and started drinking. This soup, it's incredible. Is there any more? Of course. Come, try my braised fish roe and the chopped chili fish head. I wasn't sure how well people in the Interstellar era could handle spice, so I kept the chili to a minimum. Hiss, what is this flavor? He felt the tip of his tongue ignite with a mild, stinging heat. It wasn't bad, but it was incredibly stimulating. I feel like I can't stop eating. Seeing him looking like he'd been set on fire, the colleagues in the control room watched with a mix of nerves and curiosity. What does spicy feel like? I've never tried it either. I'm so curious. While everyone was still wondering how good Earth's food really was and what spicy meant, a massive wave of hype was already building on the StarNet. The account named Fluffy Caretaker hadn't garnered much attention at first, but Rick, a famous blogger who loved nature and interacting with wild animals, was browsing the StarNet as usual today. He was suddenly caught off guard by the words, Platinum Royal Tiger, and Azure Falcon. Both are level 1 protected species in the Federation, but in these photos, they looked more than twice their normal size. Rick wasn't the only one who noticed. Other animal lovers were on it too. Netizens started demanding that I delete the photos immediately, even calling for the officials to ban my account to stop someone from profiting off fakes. In the Interstellar Federation, intellectual property is a big deal. Even downloading a photo costs Federation credits. Oblivious to the drama, I was still lazily sunbathing with my 2 big fluffies. Until Shu Yi suddenly burst in. Did you post photos of Enos and Gray online? Because they're so huge, the internet thinks you're faking it just to get attention and money. Because of my unique situation, and to make sure I wouldn't feel afraid of triple S rank, beastmen when they're in their animal forms, Huo Chen had long ago forbidden anyone from mentioning the existence of triple S rank beastmen to me. So, Shu Yi couldn't be too direct. What should I do now? Maybe try posting a video? I nodded in agreement. Good thing I recorded some footage today. I quickly uploaded the video. The situation even caught the eye of the authorities. The official in charge was an insider who recognized immediately that the Platinum Royal Tiger and the Azure Falcon were special. He reported the matter to the higher-ups. Minister Kashi of the Security Department was stunned when he heard. Triple S rank beast men. Aren't they supposed to be kept away from everyone during their evolution? In their beast state, they don't even recognize their own family. How could they possibly be hunting together? Is this some kind of prank? Puzzled, he held a video conference with Huo Chen, who couldn't quite explain it to him right away. So, he just sent him a full package of everything that had happened during this time. After understanding the whole story, Minister Cass found it all too incredible. In the end, he decided to continue cooperating with Huo Chen and keep the matter completely under wraps. He even went so far as to, after someone noticed something was off with the Black Gold King Tiger and the Azure Falcon, post a public notice for everyone to keep me in the dark. Dear citizens, please allow me to make a sincere request to you all on behalf of the Federation. For the time being, please do not reveal anything about the SSS class beastmen to the fluffy caretaker or any blue star people. This is a secret but passionate love pursuit. Let us offer them our most sincere blessings and wish for their success. Love is an eternal hot topic, and the love pursuits of these powerful figures are a wonderful event that the citizens are delighted to see. And the originally furious netizens silently deleted their previous inappropriate comments. Some people even specifically downloaded the photos and videos and paid a copyright fee as a small token of compensation. And just like that, I watched with my own eyes as my account went from nothing to something, with the balance shooting straight to 100,000 Federation coins. I had achieved financial freedom in an instant. Meanwhile, those parents who were worried about their children about to enter their evolutionary period were all crying with joy. With this caretaker, their children were finally saved. I was completely unaware of the little schemes of these powerful men. I was just leisurely playing volleyball with the two fluffballs. One flap of Gray's big wings and he'd hit it perfectly. Innocent, on the other hand, got so angry he started catching the ball with his mouth. Seeing him commit a foul, Gray immediately flew over from the other side and pecked the tiger on the head with his beak. Seeing that the situation was about to get out of control again, I quickly threw the volleyball far away. Whoever gets the ball first is the one whose fur I'll brush tonight. The eyes of the Black Gold King Tiger and the Azure Falcon were successfully drawn. They both let go of each other and ran for the ball. Gray was fast, but his eagle beak couldn't quite grip the ball. Innocent, who arrived later, opened his big mouth and easily nabbed it. This made the falcon very unhappy. Using his flight advantage, he came back to my side looking all pitiful. I smiled and patted his little head. It's all Big Sister's fault. I shouldn't have used such a big ball. How about Big Sister apologizes to you? Okay. But Innocent, who had just returned, saw this and instantly got angry. He dropped the ball from his mouth and started fighting with Gray again. I was getting mentally exhausted seeing this every day. I grabbed the big tiger's ear with one hand and the falcon's wing with the other. And huffing and puffing, I brought the two beasts back to the service area. The people in the central control room felt like they were watching a variety show every day. Ha ha ha, to think the great marshal and commander could be subdued by a little girl like that. I'm dying of laughter. After returning to the service area, I checked their wounds one by one. Luckily, neither of them had been fighting to the death. After applying medicine, I started preparing dinner. I added both the nutritional supplements and the medicine for making their fur beautiful. The people in the control room were stunned. How can she medicate their food right in front of them? There's no way the marshal and commander will eat that. Beastmen in their animal forms don't trust humans at all. But I remained completely calm. Animals are incredibly perceptive. They know very well whether you're good to them or not. And indeed, when Innocent and Gray saw me sprinkle in several kinds of powder, they didn't stop me or leave. After mixing the food well, I pushed it in front of them. First, they sniffed it with their noses. Then they looked at my smiling face and started gobbling it down. The atmosphere on our side was cheerful and harmonious, but we didn't know that danger was quietly approaching. Besides the Federation, the interstellar world also consisted of the Golden Brilliance Empire, the Star Glory Royal Court, and the Silver Wing Divine Temple, forming a tripartite balance of power. They represented the sun, moon, and stars, shining alongside the Federation, helping each other to build a harmonious and friendly interstellar world. Because they had a common enemy, the rebel army and the army of vicious beasts. To be precise, these ferocious beasts are weapons of war, created by the rebel army. They are mindless monsters with no fear of death, and every beast we've encountered so far was one of theirs. They were smuggled covertly into the Xianxia Star Sanctuary. The plan was to eliminate them while they were in their beastification phase, but they didn't count on Huo Chen guarding the place so strictly. He didn't give them a single opening. But then, those photos on the StarNet gave them the breakthrough they needed. Looking at the way these were taken, It is obvious they have zero guard up against the person behind the lens. That means they can target this fluffy caretaker. I had no idea I was being watched as I slowly blinked my eyes open from a nap. Innocent and Gray were nowhere to be found. But when I checked the security footage, I didn't know whether to laugh or be mad. Those two, an eagle and a tiger, actually teamed up to pick the lock and sneak out for a hunt. I just shook my head, feeling totally defeated. I grabbed a quick bite, hopped into my flyer, and headed out. It rained last night, so I thought I might find some fresh mushrooms or wood ear. But instead of ingredients, I stumbled upon two tiny, newborn wolf cubs huddling in the tall grass. They were adorable, but I was terrified, so I scrambled up the nearest tree. What if their parents suddenly came back and thought I was some kind of cub napper? While perched on a branch, I buzzed Shu Yi. He told me that wolves are social animals, and they almost never abandon their young. It is highly likely something happened to the parents. Shu Yi is on his way now, but the sky is starting to look heavy again. I couldn't just leave them, so I brought the cubs back to the flyer to dry their fur. I was just finishing feeding them some milk when I heard Huo Chen's voice outside. Miaomiao opened the door. I was a bit confused. Wait, where is Shu Yi? Something came up, so he sent me instead. I checked the surveillance footage before I came. Their parents aren't dead, but there is no sign of them anywhere nearby. You should take them back to the service area for now. Looking at them, one black, one white. They must be a cross between a silver moon and a dark night wolf. They are a Federation Level 2 protected species. I agreed immediately. I mean, honestly, who could say no to these little balls of fluff? Once the cubs were settled, I walked back to see a classic standoff. One man against a tiger and an eagle. They clearly weren't happy about Huo Chen invading their turf. I just huffed and planted my hands on my hips. Put on my most serious, parent, face and started scolding them. Oh, so you two actually do know the way home? You have even learned how to pick locks now? Wow, look at you two, getting so smart. Innocent immediately flattened his ears, while Gray tucked his head right into his neck feathers. They looked so pitifully cute while taking their lecture that I almost lost it and started laughing. Innocent suddenly lunged forward to act spoiled, rubbing his massive, fluffy head against my face. Not to be outdone, Gray hurried over and buried his little head into the crook of my neck. He even gave the big tiger a little shove with his wing. It was a full-on battle for my affection. Huo Chen looked like he was about to die of cringe. He quickly snapped a few photos of these loyal lapdogs. He sent them straight to the family group chat to ruin their reputations. He didn't even need a caption. I could already imagine their parents' faces. Their family's majestic, all-powerful marshal. And their commander, their 20-year reputations were gone in an instant. Noticing Huo Chen's smug grin, I was baffled. Big brother Huo? What are you laughing at? Hearing my voice, Huo Chen quickly tried to wipe the smirk off his face. Oh, nothing. Right. Listen, I had someone bring back some specialties from Earth. Let me grab them from the flyer for you. That is amazing. Thank you so much, big brother Huo. But we're moving so much stuff the infirmary is practically bursting at the seams. There are animal dorms in the service area, you know, Huo Chen suggested. You could actually let Innocent and Gray sleep there on their own. They're such huge beasts, yet they're still clinging to their keeper all day long. Have they no shame? Huo Chen grumbled inwardly. He'd completely forgotten that not long ago, getting them to even tolerate humans was a luxury he didn't dare dream of. If I'm not there, they might not settle in well, I replied. Actually, moving to the animal dorms together isn't a bad idea. It's much more spacious over there. Plus, I can keep a constant eye on the two little wolf cubs. The more I thought about it, the better it sounded, so I got ready to get to work. Huo Chen originally intended to help, but something came up at the reserve. So, I ended up moving everything with just a tiger and an eagle. With me cheering them on and showering them with praise. The two big guys worked even harder. In no time at all, they had everything moved out. After a few busy days of looking after the wolf cubs, I suddenly remembered something very important. Ever since my last post went viral, the fans have been begging for an update. I'd been so busy moving that it completely slipped my mind. To make up for it, I posted that video of us playing volleyball. To give the fans an extra treat, I also shared a photo of the two wolf cubs. One black, one white. Naming contest. I'd love to hear your suggestions, everyone. The moment that photo went up, the comment section absolutely exploded. In barely 10 minutes, there were already several thousand name suggestions. I finally picked two names that looked like they came from fellow Earthlings, Little Rice Cake and Little Sesame. I posted the update about the names I chose. After some careful thought, I feel that Little Rice Cake and Little Sesame are the perfect fit for these two little troublemakers. So, those are the winners. Thank you all so much for participating. See you next time. Right after that, I scooped up the two little ones and kept repeating their new names to them. Seeing that my attention was completely stolen by the cubs, Innocent huffed, gently snatched the two little guys out of my arms, and then squeezed himself into my lap. He completely forgot that his massive tiger head is way too big for me to hold. Haha. Oh, Innocent, are you really jealous of little rice cake and little sesame? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? I teased, giving his big head a good squeeze. The tiger just flopped onto the grass to play, and the two little cubs joined right in on the fun. Except they were actually helping me fight Innocent, nipping at his tail with their tiny, unfinished baby teeth. They ended up being lifted high into the air as he moved his tail. In the control room, the staff watched this heartwarming scene with smiles on their faces. It had been so long since they'd seen such a carefree and happy sight, especially since the triple S-grade beastmen turned into wild beasts during their evolution. Meanwhile, my attention was suddenly grabbed by a breaking news update on the Starnet. Planet D-139 hit by sudden beast attack, heavy casualties reported. The Imperial General has led his legion to eliminate the threat. Fierce beasts again, I muttered, my brow furrowing with worry. Even back on Earth, we knew exactly how dangerous these monsters could be. There was once a massive interstellar war against these beasts, led by the rebel army. The losses on both sides back then were absolutely devastating. It looks like they're making a comeback. I really should probably warn the director and my colleagues to take precautions early. As the sun began to set, Innocent and Gray couldn't even be bored to go out hunting. I scooped up the wolf cubs and climbed onto Innocent's back. With Gray guarding our rear, we headed back to the service area. After I got dinner ready for my furry friends, the question of what I should eat became the ultimate dilemma. Suddenly, my eyes landed on little rice cake and little sesame. How about some rice cake ribs? I thought. I washed the ribs and chopped them into small pieces. After parboiling them, I used pieces of rice cake to replace the bones inside the meat. Then, I caramelized some sugar and tossed in all the spices. Reduce the sauce, plate it up, and sprinkle on some sesame seeds. That rich, dark glaze looks absolutely mouth-watering. The guys in the control room are literally drooling. Watching Miaomiao cook is always a mix of pure bliss and utter torture for them. They can look, but they can't touch. Ever since they tasted those meat buns I sent over, they haven't wanted to touch another nutrient pack. When the district chief gets back, I'm definitely going to make him hire a chef from Blue Star. Anyway, after I finished my dinner, I pulled up Tom and Jerry, a show I made sure to download before leaving Blue Star. I wanted my big fluff balls to experience the joy of my childhood. Since it was their first time seeing a cartoon, one of them got so worked up he started slapping Innocent with his wings, and Innocent wasn't about to take that lying down. Pretty soon, the two beasts were brawling again. Tussling back and forth, they turned the bath into their own personal splash pad. I got dragged into the chaos, too, and ended up just spraying the hose at everything that moved. My laughter rang out like silver bells, filling the whole service area, until a chilly breeze blew past. The sudden cold snapped me out of our water fight. Alright, that's enough, I said. Water's off. Let's get inside where it's warm. It felt so much better once we were back inside. By the time I finished blow-drying Innocent and Gray, I was so exhausted I just collapsed on the floor. Bathing giant beasts is a real workout for a caretaker. I was too tired to even think about cooking dinner, so I just choked down a nutrient pack. Gross, but it does the job. Then I just curled up with my big fluff balls and drifted off to sleep, totally forgetting to feed them. But Innocent and Gray didn't wake me. Instead, they waited until I was sound asleep, and then tiptoed off the bed. The two of them teamed up again to pop the door open and head out for a midnight hunt. But this time, Gray didn't go along. He stayed behind to guard the door, just to make sure Innocent could get back in without me catching him sneaking out. About 2 hours later, Innocent returned to the service area with his kill. He gave Gray a quiet signal to open up. The tiger and the falcon worked together to drag the carcass into a corner of the animal quarters, where they started tearing into it as quietly as they could. They were so careful not to wake me. The guys in the control room were absolutely stunned. They probably wouldn't even coordinate this well on an actual battlefield. While they were joking around, an emergency alert suddenly flashed on their screens. Intruders detected. Unknown hostiles are approaching Service Zone 7. It turns out the rebels had been trying to take out the triple S-class beastmen by dropping monsters into the preserve, but it wasn't working. So, they set their sights on me, the only person who could soothe the beastmen during their evolution. They waited for Huo Chen to leave for planet D-139 to help with reinforcements, then they snuck into the 7th service zone. Meanwhile, I was fast asleep, completely unaware of the danger looming outside. After searching the service area with no luck, they turned their attention toward the animal quarters where I was sleeping. Little did they know, my big fluff balls had already switched into full combat mode. The moment one of the men pried the door open, a massive, towering shadow suddenly lunged at him. The man let out a blood-curdling scream. The other two quickly raised their tranquilizer guns, aiming straight at the Azure Falcon. But they completely forgot there was an ink gold tiger in there, too. The second he saw those tranquilizer guns, Innocent dived down and tackled two of them. The three men scrambled together like a pack of panicked animals. They kept firing their tranquilizers wildly, but the beasts dodged every single shot. It only served to piss off Innocent and Gray. With perfect timing, the tiger and the falcon hemmed them in from both sides. One of them was about to crack. Boss, should we just use the photon guns? I can't hold them off much longer. No, the leader barked. Orders are to bring Miaomiao back alive. We also need fresh blood samples from Innocent and Gray for research. But they're too big to haul away. Even if they're dead, if we collect the blood right away, won't it still be fresh? Talk about a wake-up call. The people in the control room were pacing frantically, but the security team still hadn't arrived. Just as they were at their wits' end, I suddenly appeared at the doorway. You really think you can just waltz into my home and bully my beasts? Do I look like a pushover to you? Actually, I heard them the moment they stepped into this area. To figure out what they were up to, I hid myself first to scope out the situation. My appearance didn't just give the crooks a heart attack, even the people in the control room were scared half to death. Shishi, why isn't she staying hidden? Why would she run out there? Now we're totally screwed. The district head is going to kill us when he gets back. But the next second, they were too stunned to speak. Because on the screen, I had already struck before those men could even react. I charged straight into the circle and broke their formation. Innocent and Gray followed my lead, perfectly pulling the others away. In an instant, it went from a 2-on-3 to a 1-on-1. To make sure they didn't accidentally hurt the animals inside, I used a few tricky moves and snatched the laser guns right out of their hands. I was wearing my special gloves, and my attacks were lightning fast. In no time at all, I had their leader on his knees. The other two tried to rush in to help, but Innocent and Gray kept them pinned down. As for me, I didn't just restrain my opponent. I was doing it with total ease. The people in the control room were completely dumbstruck by what they were seeing. This was light years away from the person they thought I was. Who the hell are you? The man's roar echoed through the entire beast dormitory. His question was exactly what the station chief and the others wanted to know. But I just smiled and landed a heavy punch right on his face. As he hit the ground, I pinned him and twisted his arm until it snapped. Oh, I'm just your average, everyday caretaker. After acting all cool, I pulled out what I brought and jammed a sedative needle right into the man's neck. Once he slumped over unconscious, I clenched my fists and glared at the other two. When I saw that Innocent and Gray's nearly healed wounds had been torn open again by these bastards, I was absolutely seething. Innocent closed the door. Don't let them escape. Innocent followed my lead and slammed the main gate shut. By the time the security team finally arrived, all they saw were 3 beaten to a pulp, unconscious losers lying on the floor. Are you guys alright? This wasn't the first time the security captain and I had met, but for some reason, he felt like I was someone he really didn't want to mess with right now. Having dealt with the enemies, I instantly switched back to my usual, gentle self. Oh, I'm perfectly fine. Watching how fast my face changed, everyone collectively gulped. They were terrified that if I got upset, I'd blame them for being late and take my anger out on them. But why would I be angry? I knew they must have been tied up with something important, otherwise they would have been here sooner. Still, according to the rules, I had to inspect my gloves. After all, dangerous items like these have to be reported and approved. I casually pulled them off and tossed them to the security captain. When he caught them, he looked at me with total shock. These must weigh at least 50 pounds. No wonder those crooks were screaming so miserably. Once he confirmed everything was fine, the captain handed the gloves back and led his team away from the service area. As I watched them leave, an unreadable glint flashed in my eyes. But I quickly went back to normal. I turned around, huffing with faux anger at the 2 big guys guarding the door. Innocent, Gray, the 2 of them thought they'd messed up and were about to get a scolding. They already had 1 foot out the door, ready to bolt. But I managed to grab them in time, so they could only wait meekly to be scolded. But how could I bear to? I was just heartbroken that they were injured again. Stop playing pitiful. Come with me to the medical bay. I left first, carrying the little wolf cub that had been hiding in the storage room. Their animal instincts told them they had just dodged a bullet. They immediately and happily followed in my footsteps. Meanwhile, far away on planet D-139, Huo Chen received news from my side, and his first reaction was to ask if I was hurt. Then, he realized there might be a mole in the sanctuary. He rushed to find General Norkin. Norkin, how much longer will it take to clean up planet D-139? Right now, the rebels are in full retreat. If all goes well, the battle should be over in a week. Hearing this, Huo Chen was instantly energized. Tomorrow, I'll join you on the front lines. Since he couldn't deal with the saboteurs sent by the rebels just yet, he would first vent his frustration on the rebels causing trouble on D-139. After a thrilling night, the animal dormitory was a complete mess. Fortunately, the station chief sent people over early in the morning to clean up and also brought in an extra-large bed. I heard Huo Chen had it custom-made before he left. Because Innocent and Gray were injured, I strictly forbade them from hunting and decided that I would prepare all their meals for the next few days. In the evening, after preparing a table full of delicious food, a tall, sturdy man suddenly appeared outside the dorm. It turned out he was Hoder, the bodyguard Huo Chen had arranged for me. But watching this man who looked like he wanted to lick his plate clean, I couldn't help but feel he was a bit unreliable. After tasting the delicious food, Hodor finally understood why Huo Chen said that protecting this Blue Star native was definitely a good deal. For this unprecedented cuisine alone, he'd be happy to do the job for free. As long as meals were included, it was all good. Meanwhile, on planet D-139, a soldier frantically found Xu Yi. Dr. Xu. General Norkin is injured, and he's entered his feral state. He said only she can save him. Hearing this, Xu Yi immediately knew what was happening. He quickly took out his personal terminal to make a call. Miaomiao, this is an emergency. Help me. After ending the call, he rushed to the scene. He saw a group of people surrounding a Mengji snow leopard, afraid it would escape. But Norkin was now uncontrollable. Just like Innocent and Grey, he refused to let any humans get near. We can't let him get away. Otherwise, only death awaits him. Everyone had already prepared for the worst and had notified Norkin's family to come for a final farewell. At the same time, headquarters was contacted to pick me up. Although Huo Chen knew about my special effect on beastmen in their evolutionary phase, it hadn't been fully confirmed yet, so he specifically instructed Xu Yi not to reveal my abilities to anyone, lest I become a target for everyone. But travel between planets is by starship, which takes a long time. To prevent Norkin from running wild, Xu Yi immediately shot him with a tranquilizer dart, taking him down. He was then urgently transported to the medical bay on planet D-139. He had been injured by a quantum bomb left by the rebels. If it weren't for his powerful SSS rank beastman constitution, he probably would have been long dead. Looking at Norkin's medical report, Xu Yi's brow was furrowed in a tight knot. Huo Chen's expression was grim as well. He had thought they could finish cleaning up soon. But they'd been tricked by the rebels again. He himself was also seriously injured. But seeing Norkin's condition, he was too worried to accept treatment for himself. Not until Xu Yi said, if you go down, there'll be no one left to protect Miaomiao. Only after hearing this did Huo Chen obediently go see a doctor. Because he was the one who had urgently summoned her from planet Tianyao, he had to ensure she got back safely. Watching his retreating figure, Xu Yi shook his head and chuckled softly. Sure enough, the only person who can keep Huo Chen in check is Miaomiao. Well, what do you expect? He is a triple S rank beastman, after all. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here looking absolutely exhausted. On the private jet sent by headquarters. Huo Deli is sitting right next to me. He insisted on tagging along like a stubborn leech. I was planning to catch up on some sleep, but trouble decided to show up first. Suddenly, bam, the plane shook violently from a massive impact. Huo Deli immediately went into full combat mode. Unidentified spacecraft is attacking. Everyone, prepare for combat. A cold glint flashed in my eyes after being disturbed for the third time. Why on earth is an unknown ship attacking us? I'm afraid someone doesn't want you saving that Mengji snow leopard. Seriously? Over just one snow leopard? Is there something special about this leopard? Huo Deli already knows about my hidden triple S beast transformation. So the second he sensed my suspicion, he started spinning a lie. You don't understand. This Mengji snow leopard is incredibly rare. It's a top-tier protected animal in the Federation. Its foster parent is actually Duke Nuoan of the Empire. The Duke Nuoan he mentioned is actually Nuo Kn's father. The whole foster thing was just an excuse he cooked up. He's worried his cover will be blown since we're about to meet him. So, this attack is likely led by the rebels. Oh, I see. They're trying to drive a wedge between the Empire and the Federation. Exactly. Those rebels are absolutely disgusting. Huo Deli clearly didn't expect me to be so easy to fool. He immediately jumped on the bandwagon, cursing the rebels for being subhuman. While we were chatting away, the pilots in the cockpit were fighting for their lives. The unknown ship kept slamming into us relentlessly. The pilot had to keep the flight steady while desperately dodging the enemy ship. Because the mission was so urgent, headquarters had sent 2 pilots to work in shifts. The lead pilot's eyes were burning with rage. If it comes down to it, take Miss Miaomiao and evacuate. I'll stay behind and take these bastards down with me. Go, now. Just as he was about to shove his comrade out and lock the door, a large, firm hand blocked the door. When he saw it was me and Huo Deli, he thought we were just messing around. What are you two still doing here? Leave. Huo Deli just squeezed into the cockpit and took the pilot's seat. That's enough. Cut the chatter. I'm taking the controls, you be my co-pilot. He handled the controls with expert ease, activating mode 2 to prep the energy cannon. 2 pilots had never been trained on this. They didn't even know a mode 2 existed. I'm firing the energy cannon. We need a direct hit. Which one of you is backing me up? We only get one shot at this. With the plane taking such a heavy beating, aiming was going to be incredibly difficult. The lead pilot, who was just ready to sacrifice his life, stepped up instantly. I'll do it. Watching Huo Deli focus so intensely on the enemy, I felt a bit puzzled. With his skills, there's no way he needs to be a bodyguard for a simple breeder. Is he here to spy on me? Or is there some secret motive I don't know about? While I was lost in thought, the two of them successfully fired the cannon. The massive blast instantly turned the enemy ship to ash. Meanwhile, in the infirmary, Nuo Kn had finally woken up. The moment he realized he was caged, he began violently slamming against the bars. His freshly bandaged wounds tore open instantly. Seeing his son like this, Duke Nuoan was absolutely heartbroken. Huo Chen had planned to send the Duke to the radio room, hoping that talking to Nuo Kn would calm him down. Even hearing his father's voice, the Mengji snow leopard immediately went into a defensive strike pose. Hearing a voice but seeing no one, it couldn't find a target, making it even more frantic and unstable. Ignoring the wounds on his body, he began frantically slamming against the iron gate. Huo Chen had no choice but to quickly call out to Duke Nuoan to stop. As a veterinarian, Xu Yi was even more anxious. He knew that for a beastman entering their evolution phase, their vision becomes blurred. In that state, if they can't identify the enemy, their only instinct is to flee. If they can't escape, they would rather die than be kept as someone's prisoner. But using more anesthetics now would only speed up his death. Just as he was caught in this dilemma, his personal terminal suddenly let out a notification sound. It was a voice message from me. Dr. Xu, it'll take us another 3 hours to reach planet D139. Could you send me the files on the snow leopard first so I can take a look? I had intended to use this time to learn more about the snow leopard so I could better assist Xu Yi with the treatment. To my surprise, the moment the snow leopard heard my voice, he immediately stopped his frantic slamming. Everyone present was stunned. What was going on? Xu Yi instinctively leaned closer to the monitor to get a better look. But as soon as the snow leopard heard his movement, through the intercom, he became agitated all over again. Scared witless, Xu Yi scrambled back. Huo Chen, being the first to catch on to what was happening, immediately gave an order. Xu Yi, play Miaomiao's voice message again. Let Nuo Kn hear it. Xu Yi did as he was told and replayed my voice message. Sure enough, the snow leopard quieted down. He looked around curiously, as if searching for the owner of that voice. No way. Is he Miaomiao's voice really that effective? Refusing to believe it, Xu Yi turned off my recording and let Duke Nuoan speak instead. The result was exactly what you'd expect. The snow leopard became irritated and restless again, growling non-stop and clawing at the door. Finally, he even covered his ears with his paws. Seriously? Is our voice really that unpleasant? After trying 3 or 4 more times, Duke Nuoan and Xu Shihan finally accepted reality, fearing they might actually drive the leopard crazy. Nuo Kn really only wanted to hear Miaomiao's voice. This was just too much. Dealing with such blatant favoritism, the Duke and Xu Shihan were both thrilled that I could influence a triple S-class beastman. Yet speechless at the leopard's extreme double standards. It was the ultimate, son leaving the nest, moment. The Duke sat back in his chair, defeated. When I learned that my voice had such a soothing effect on the snow leopard, I agreed to record a clip for Xu Yi to help persuade the leopard to cooperate with the treatment. However, when I finally arrived at the medical bay on planet D139, I was completely dumbfounded by what Xu Yi was doing. Is that person really Xu Yi? He was actually wearing a mask made from my photo, cross-dressing as a woman, and using my recording to try and apply medicine to the snow leopard. But the moment he got close, the snow leopard immediately went into a defensive stance. Hearing that sweet, gentle voice coming from the person in front of him, the leopard hesitated for a moment, ready to strike. Just as Xu Yi thought his disguise was working, the snow leopard suddenly lunged at him with a roar. Xu Yi started running for his life, screaming, "Help! Save me!" Hearing the cries for help, Huo Chen quickly opened the treatment room door to let Xu Yi escape. But the snow leopard was incredibly fast. He bolted out of the room before anyone could react. Everyone scattered in a panic. Just as the snow leopard was looking for an exit, that voice that felt like a spring breeze reached him again. Nuo Kn, thinking it was Xu Yi trying to trick him again, the snow leopard turned around, snarling and baring his teeth in warning. But the moment he saw me, he froze on the spot. He even looked a bit embarrassed, awkwardly pretending to lick his fur. I slowly approached him, continuously speaking in a soft, soothing tone. The snow leopard carefully sniffed my scent. Only after confirming it was really me did he finally calm down completely. Everyone was breathless with shock, while Xu Yi, hiding back in the treatment room, just wanted to cry. Seriously? Why is it okay for Miaomiao, but not for me? It turns out Xu Yi had hit him with a tranquilizer gun before, so the snow leopard had already marked the scent on him. So now, hearing Xu Yi's voice, he's starting to get triggered all over again. He tried to lunge past me and roar at Xu Yi to shut him up, but Huo Chen, who was watching from outside, thought he was mad at me. He couldn't help but get worried, but really, I'm fine. His target wasn't me, and since I was suddenly roared at, I just grabbed his mouth shut. Hey, big kitty, your breath is a little stinky, you know? Because he was injured, the snow leopard had been refusing to eat and kept licking his wounds. It's only natural for his breath to smell a bit. Feeling rejected, the snow leopard just wagged his tail piteously. Duke Nuo and witnessed the entire process of me easily subduing his son. He's now absolutely certain that I'm his son's savior. It's all thanks to Miss Miaomiao. Otherwise, no Gen would have broken out. I looked at him, confused. You are? Knowing the truth, Duke Nuo and didn't reveal it. He didn't mention that the snow leopard was a triple S rank beastman, and stuck to the script, saying he was no Gen's foster parent. I gave him a polite greeting and then patted the snow leopard's head. Be a good boy and don't run around, okay? Feeling an unprecedented tenderness, the snow leopard didn't struggle or resist. Instead, it even let out a tiny, high-pitched meow. Seeing the snow leopard's total change in attitude, everyone was completely stunned. No one expected Admiral Noken to have a side like this. Since the snow leopard was still injured, I rushed it straight to the medical room. But I totally forgot that Shu Yi was still inside. The second the snow leopard saw him, it started chasing him all over again. Shu Yi was scared out of his wits, scrambling to get away. Stay back, don't come any closer. Why am I always the one who gets bullied? I managed to block the snow leopard's path. Since the snow leopard had blacklisted Shu Yi once again, I had to be the one to apply the medicine. Good boy, kitty, let's get you patched up. No moving, okay? The snow leopard lay on the medical bed, acting like a perfect angel. It let me do whatever I needed to its body, even rolling over on its own to let me apply the ointment. Seeing the snow leopard's blatant double standards, Shu Yi looked totally fed up. This guy is seriously asking for a beating. All right, it's time to take your yucky medicine. To me, coaxing a furball is no different from coaxing a child. I pulled out a tin of my homemade meat. Be a good boy and take your meds. And then I'll give you this super duper delicious food. Deal? Outside the door, Duke Noen watched with a nervous expression. After all, taking medicine and being hand-fed were two major triggers for a triple S rank evolving beastman. But the snow leopard didn't snap. Instead, it started rolling around, throwing a tantrum to get the food without the medicine. I immediately cut it off with a stern face. No, medicine first. The snow leopard paced around looking heartbroken, and finally bit its own tail as a sign of protest. I refused to give in and pulled the tin behind my back. Duke Noen felt so bad watching this. Maybe just give the poor child the food first? He's already so badly hurt. Shu Yi cleared his throat softly. Duke Nuoan, if I may offer a friendly word of advice. When Miaomiao is spending time with the fluffies, she really doesn't like people breathing down her neck. How could the Duke not understand that? Li Niao offered a small, apologetic smile. It's understandable, of course his heart is just aching, like any worried father. Having successfully talked the Duke down, Shu Yi turned his gaze back toward the treatment room. But a second later, they were shocked by my wild move. I just pried the snow leopard's mouth open and shoved the medicine right in. Isn't she afraid of getting her hand bitten off? You have to realize, a mangy snow leopard has an incredibly powerful bite. Yet, despite being treated so roughly by me, the snow leopard's first worry was whether its teeth might accidentally hurt me. His body grew stiffer and stiffer, his mouth hanging wide open, not even daring to snap it shut. Couldn't help but laugh out loud, finally showing a bit of mercy and pulling my hand back. Good boy, leopard, you know you shouldn't hurt someone who's being nice to you. The snow leopard, finally able to close its mouth, licked its lips wearily, quietly wiping away the drool that was about to spill out. Talk about losing your leopard dignity. Meanwhile, I popped open a can of food and held it out to him. The mangy snow leopard started eating excitedly, its wagging tail acting like a thumbs up for how delicious the food was. Ms. Miaomiao is a true warrior. Only a warrior like her could ever handle that brat of his. I wonder if Ms. Miaomiao is married yet. Just as Duke Noen was getting lost in the fantasy of Miaomiao becoming his daughter-in-law, Huo Chen's cold voice suddenly rang out from behind him. Duke Noen, isn't it a bit inappropriate to try and poach someone right in front of me? Duke Noen gave an awkward laugh. Ha ha ha, just a joke. While things were all warm and fuzzy over here, the rebels on the other side were absolutely losing it. Useless. You're all a bunch of useless trash. Val looked at his subordinates who didn't dare make a sound, so furious he hurled everything on the table right at them. He just couldn't wrap his head around it. How could a mere caretaker from Earth make you fail 2 missions in a row? Why aren't you saying anything? Are you all mutes? The subordinate, his face covered in blood from the impact, nodded innocently. Well, he actually was a mute. After 2 failed missions in a row, Val had become a commander with no army. This little lackey was the only one left. This made Val even angrier. You must be a spy sent by my rival. You're trying to stress me to death so you can take my spot. At this point, he didn't even want to think about these 2 failures. If the higher-ups found out, would they think he was incompetent and kick him out? Now, there were only 2 ways left to save his reputation with the bosses. Either capture a triple S rank beastman, or kidnap Miaomiao to lure a triple S rank beastman into a trap. With no one left to use, he thought of an old friend. He immediately dialed the contact. Elias, I need your help. Get back to me ASAP. After staying with the mangy snow leopard through some of its treatment, I brought it back with me to the Xianxia Star Wildlife Sanctuary. Back at the control center, the staff were beyond excited when they heard I was returning. Ever since Miaomiao left, we haven't caught a single glimpse of Innocent or Gray on the monitors. They only come back to the service area at night. Every day, they just lay on the blankets that still smell like her, as if they're waiting for her to come home. I had just dropped the snow leopard off at the infirmary when I heard the cries of the ink gold king tiger and the pale blue falcon behind me. I ran toward them, full of excitement. Innocent, Gray. A beast's sense of smell is always incredibly sharp. The moment I stepped into the 7th service area, they caught my scent. They ditched the prey they were chasing and bolted straight for me. Using his advantage of flight, the pale blue falcon was the first to swoop down and hug me. I reached out and patted his little head. Gray, I missed you so much. Have you been a good boy lately? When the ink gold king tiger finally caught up and saw me being held in the falcon's arms, he was so jealous he almost started jumping up and down. He looks at me with those teary eyes like he's begging for a hug too. Alright, I get it, I say with a smile, wiggling out from under Gray's wing. In an instant, Innocent pulls me into a full embrace, nuzzling his head against me over and over. It's like he's trying to cover me in his scent. Okay. I promise I won't leave you guys for so long next time. I keep stroking their fur to calm the two big guys down. Just then, the snow leopard in the treatment room looks over through the glass. Since his injuries haven't healed yet, I've had to keep him settled in there for now. I give the others a guilty look. It's so weird why'd I feel like such a cheating heartbreaker? It's like I already have 2 husbands at home, but then I went on a business trip and brought back a side piece. And then the side piece finds out he's fallen for a married woman. He's shocked and devastated. Ah well, let me introduce you to a friend. I shake those crazy thoughts out of my head. I look at them awkwardly to introduce him, but the king tiger just roars right at the room. He's trying to scare off the newcomer, but the snow leopard isn't one to back down easily. If it weren't for that glass wall, they'd probably be tearing each other apart by now. Innocent, Nokin, stop roaring, you're gonna make me go deaf. But then these 2 big guys start acting all hurt. Meow woo. You're actually being mean to me because of another beast? I can't live like this. Okay, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Listening to their complaints, I feel more and more guilty. Only Gray, the Azure Falcon, is acting like a big brother, keeping me safe under his wings. Gray, you're not mad at me, are you? The Azure Falcon gives a dignified cry. Touched, I immediately dive into his embrace. Gray really is the best. Meanwhile, the king tiger and the snow leopard are fuming when they see this. You manipulative, green T-bird. To stop the Azure Falcon from winning again, the king tiger and the snow leopard reach a silent agreement. They both give a sweet little meow, finally getting me to turn my attention back to them. Seeing they aren't hostile anymore, I'm almost moved to tears. That's better. You really are my good boys. I'll go make you something yummy right now, okay? Trying to make it up to them, I bolt for the kitchen. To my surprise, the kitchen has been totally renovated. My eyes light up instantly. This is amazing. Huo Chen, who just got back from support, is in the control room. Seeing how excited I am, a small smile creeps onto his face. Then he turns his gaze to his poor, silly nephew, who's currently being cornered by Innocent and Gray. It's not my fault Miaomiao left. Why are you picking on me? Miaomiao, save me. Even though I'm in the kitchen, there's nothing I can do. I guess I really am a 2-timing heartbreaker right now. It's all your fault. You took our 2-legger away. Exactly. If the 2-legger hadn't left, she wouldn't have brought another beast back. Hoder, who can't understand a word they're saying, just runs for his life. I just wanted to get some food. Why is this so hard? He was just about to beg me for help when he saw me inside, playing with 2 little wolf cubs. He Miaomiao, listening to the roars outside. I just calmly rubbed my ears. Even though Hoder didn't say anything, I know he's probably cursing me out in his head, but whatever, let him curse. It's definitely better than the disaster zone we were in just now. Looking at the 2 little fluff balls in my arms, I suddenly realized I haven't updated my account in quite a while. Since we have a new member now, I might as well post something while I have some free time over the next couple of days. So, the very next day, I took my pack of fluff balls straight to the meadow to enjoy some nature. I recorded a video of the Mengji snow leopard and posted it on Starnet to welcome our new member. Round of applause, everyone. I recently rescued a Mengji snow leopard. He's recovering beautifully. My followers, who've been waiting so long for an update they're practically going bald, were almost in tears. It's been half a month finally, an update. I mean, what kind of blogger just vanishes for half a month without saying a single word? But Miaomiao is just so unique that they can't help but stay hooked. So, what else can they do? They just have to spoil her. But as soon as they saw the fluff ball in the video, their eyes widened in complete shock. Holy crap, is that a Mengji snow leopard? Is it the one I'm thinking of? Is our caretaker really that charming? Even a Mengji snow leopard has fallen head over heels for her. This is hilarious. I can't believe a Mengji snow leopard is actually such a manipulative guy, using a pity play just to win her favor. Those who knew his true identity were having the time of their lives chatting away. Meanwhile, I was completely in the dark, simply thinking that the snow leopard was just really popular. But as I watched the donations pour in like golden rain, I couldn't wipe the huge grin off my face. The fluffballs looked back at me, totally confused. All of them wondering if the human they were so carefully raising had finally gone crazy. Since the snow leopard's injuries hadn't fully healed, I didn't dare let him get too far from me, so he was the first one to come running back. He looked at me with such worried eyes. Only then did I finally snap out of my dream of golden riches.